What is spirituality? What does it mean to be spiritual? When I think about that question, I think about my connection to God, or spirit, or the universe. Mainly my connection to the Tao, the way. What does it mean to be spiritual? What does it mean to be somebody who's seeking out spirituality? Because can the way be sought out? And then, if we're seeking out a way, how do we seek it out? What is the way? How do we seek out this way that seemingly, it's elusive. It's an elusive thing, this truth, this freedom. Because how can we know something that we don't know already? And how can there be anything that we do not already know? See, spirituality means, what does it mean? Does it mean connecting to source? Does it mean connecting to the self? Does it mean connecting to the universe? What does it mean? What are you connecting to? The Tao, the way, the universe, God, the divine. But then once you're connected to the divine, how do you go on living in a spiritual way? Because we can say, spirituality means connecting to the divine. Well, okay, then now that you've connected to the divine, what is the next step? How do you go on living in the way now that you've connected to it? And so then is connection the only thing that spirituality is? If everything is already done, complete, perfect, then why are we here? What's the point of living on this planet? What's the point of this planet? What is this search for meaning even doing for any of us? Does it do anything? Is searching for meaning part of the big game? Is it part of the wheel that we're on over and over again, looking and looking and looking and looking and not finding? There's this idea that when you stop looking, when you stop chasing, you'll start attracting, it will start coming to you. What will start coming to you? What is the big idea? What is it that we all want? What are we striving for? What is a spiritual person doing? What are they striving for? What do they want? Do they want the truth? And if they want the truth, then what is the truth? Is the truth something that is outside of view, or is it always in view? And it probably is always in view. The truth. It's always readily available. The way is always right there, right in front of our eyes, right under our noses, is what the Tao Te Ching says. And so this man Lao Tzu writes this poem, this short poem, a little bit over 1,000 words, as he's leaving the country. Because a man who sees him leaving says, "Hey, can you tell me the art of living?" The art of living. The Tao Te Ching, the way of the way. What is freedom? What is truth? How do we seek spirituality? And what is spirituality? Do we call it, is it a connection to the divine? Or is it a series of actions that we take? Is it an idea in our brains, or is it something that we do? Is it a doing? Is it a being? Or is it just an idea? Or several ideas? Is it answers to questions? Is it solutions to problems? What happens when we have solutions and problems? Well, the way can't be in the solution or in the problem, because both of those things lean on each other. And the way is above both of those. There is no solution and there is no problem. And so what is it that we're seeking? What meaning is there in this world? If there's any meaning at all. Is the meaning that we look for needed to be, do we need to look for it? Do we need to make up a meaning? Or are the vast majority of human beings right now searching for something that will never exist? Because in the searching, in the chasing, in the going after meaning, in the going after of the purpose, in the going after of things. And so what causes us to go after things? Well, you could say karma. And what is karma? Karma's desire. And so how do you get rid of desire? How do you get rid of the need to go after things? The need, the want, the desire to go after things. How do you get rid of this? Because until you get rid of it, all you'll have, are you really free? Because freedom is what? Freedom is the ability to either do it or not do it. It's free will. It's choice. But if you have a desire that is burning within you to go on the swing set, are you free? Or do you need to go fulfill that desire in order for your mind and body to be clear of that desire so that you can move forward in what? To what? To nothing. To the Tao. Above it there is no light. Below it there is no darkness. If you try to look at it, you can't see it. It is elusive in this way. But it is also all-encompassing. And if you draw from it, you will never need restoration. It is always there. And so, in this desire, in these desires that cause us to go down these paths to fulfill these desires, we are essentially freeing ourselves of the desires. But then you say, well, I want to be free. And so what is the spiritual path but to become free? Well, how do you become free if you have desire? Well, how do you get rid of desire? Well, you say, well, okay, I would like to get rid of my desire. Well, isn't that a desire in itself? You desire to get rid of your desires? Well, now we're playing the game. And how do you get out of that one? Well, I desire to get out of my desires so that I can be free. Well, don't you desire the freedom? What? And how can you not? How can you get out of that state of desire? By fulfilling it? But if you fulfill it, what happens? What happens there? And so what is freedom but the fulfillment of desire, but the release of desire? But how do we release desires without wanting to release them? Because if we want to release a desire, we are desiring to release it, therefore creating another desire. And so it's this endless process. But is it endless? There's been great sages in this world who have found the middle way, who found the enlightened pathway, who chose, maybe it isn't that I'm seeking freedom, and maybe it isn't that I'm seeking not freedom, or that I'm not seeking at all. Maybe I'm seeking, but I'm also not seeking. I am not. I am that I am. I am that I am is a very powerful statement. Because I am that I am states all that is ever stated in one sentence. I am that I am. It encompasses the entire Tao, all in one thing. I am that I am. But how do we get there without wanting to get there? How do we move in a direction without wanting to move in that direction? These are the questions that create a dialogue, that open the mind up to Zen and living in the way. Because in order to live in freedom, in truth, in the way, we must give up all of these desires. But then how do we do that? How does that happen? And can it happen? Of course it can happen. But does it happen through the self? This is why many doctrines and religions and yada, yada, yada get into the morals and the complexities. But if we can step away from that, we see saints and we see higher beings who have shared higher wisdom throughout the years, throughout the centuries. And many of them state that we have to give it up. We have to give up our desires. Not desiring not to desire, but in fact, surrendering to something else, to the Tao, and then allowing what happens to naturally happen. And to surrender would require faith. It would require a conviction. It would require a connection. Because to really truly give it up, and I don't mean in a way where your mind says, I give it up out of desire to be free. But I mean in a way where your heart gives it up. Not out of desire, not out of longing or self-serving. And so what would we call that? How would we describe that giving something up in that way? Can we describe it? Is there a word for that surrender, for that act of not wanting anything, but giving unconditionally? What is that word? Well, it's love. Love, to give unconditionally. Unconditional surrender. Because to have any conditions is to have desires, to fulfill certain wants or needs within the self, desires within the self, whether they're needed desires or they're wanted desires. So what is this thing that we call love? And how do we access it? How has anybody ever accessed it? Where does it come from? And is it in front of you? Is it behind you? Is it below you? Is it above you? Is it any of these things? When we start to think about these things, it opens up the becoming of it. But what about actions? Why did Buddha go and renunciate for 7 years? But then only after that 7-year time period. It took him 48 days to become enlightened. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment means, in Buddhism, the end of suffering. The end of suffering does not mean the end of pain. Pain is not the same as suffering. Suffering is different than pain. We can feel pain because pain is a feeling. We don't have to suffer because we feel pain. Pain is an indicator of certain things that are happening. It is a strong indicator, and it can lead to strong desire in the other direction. Now, there's many schools of thought on this idea. Because here's the deal. What is going to give you, or what is going to get you to give up your desire? Your desire to not feel pain. your desire to not feel loneliness, your desire to feel community, your desire to feel love. These desires is essentially what traps the soul, the being, in the wheel of desire. Some call it samsara. And to alleviate yourself of this wheel is moksha. But how? How does that happen? Can we make it happen ourselves? Well, if we try to make it happen, more than likely it will take longer. And so us sitting here and talking about this together is almost counterproductive in a way. To be spiritual almost is leading one away from the spiritual path. Because to be spiritual means to have a desire to be connected to God. And so what do we do about that? How do we move from a place of desiring to be connected to God to being truly connected to God? And at what point do we surrender both the desire to be connected to God and also the need to express when we are connected to God in any way that we are? Many yogins say that on the spiritual path, many mistake higher spiritual perspective for the highest spiritual perspective. And so when they break through one level, all of a sudden they feel enlightened. However, they're still suffering on some level there. And so have they really attained what they want to attain? And see, when you get to that doorway of consciousness or unconsciousness or superconsciousness, when you get to the doorway that is true enlightenment, the person I'm talking to right now, you cannot come through that door because you have desire to be in that door. You have a desire to be in that room with God. And that person who has the desire to be in the room with God cannot come into the room with God. You must leave them behind. And so when we see great sages or master teachers, Maharaji or gurus, nobody's home. They left it behind a long time ago. Their personality, their desires, who they want to be, the person inside of them who wanted to be with God no longer is there. And so they're essentially moving around as an empty vessel, a passenger, not determining what they say or do, walking around, taking actions, not as they see fit, just as they are, being. And is that what you want? Is that what we want? Is that what a spiritual person wants, to leave themselves behind? Or do you still have a desire to be great? Do you still have a desire to be known? To be great, to be known, to be loved, to be accepted? These desires, until you fulfill them as a spiritual person, until we fulfill them as a spiritual community, how can we get past them? How can we really rise up into this highest state of consciousness until we've fulfilled these desires to be loved and in community and all of these different things? Can it be done? And who cares? Do you care? Do you care about your connection to God, or do you care about the benefits that come with it, the manifestations that come with it, the good feelings that come with it? And if your desire is to have good feelings for this lifetime, then so be it. Fulfill them. Because it is by the fulfillment of desire that you can move through it, that you can experience it. Because until you've experienced what you desire, can you truly let that desire go? And where does the desire come from? Does it come from you, your mind? Well, that would be like saying thoughts come from the mind, your mind. Do thoughts come from your mind, or do thoughts just come in? We all have access to the thoughts, the ideas. It's part of the collective unconscious. Now, we can claim them, or we don't have to. But the ones that we've claimed over and over and over again, we start to repeat them in our mind over and over and over and over until they become a program. And how do you alleviate yourself of this program? This cycle, this wheel of desire that was created through the claiming of the desire in the consciousness. By thinking a thought, you're not thinking a thought. We don't think thoughts. We look at the thoughts that are already in the collective unconscious. And ego is identification. Your ego becomes what you identify with. And it's just, it's not anything other than the thoughts that you identify with. But to be a spiritual person, what is the goal? To be more connected? And why? Because you have desires that you want to fulfill by being more connected to God? Do you think that being more connected to God will get you a higher position in life? More money, more resources, more connectivity, more community? Do you think that being more connected to God will give you better feelings? All of these things are desires. And what is the truth? Why seek out healing? Why seek out healing the world? Why do you think that you can change the world? It cannot be done. It is already perfect, just as it is, in perfect balance. But what we can do is we can claim thoughts that say it's not. We can claim thoughts that say that we need to be somewhere that we're not. We can claim thoughts that say, oh, I want this because I don't have it. And all of a sudden, instead of being just right here, well, you're here and you're at your goal. And so there's two of you. And so, in being two people at one time, the energy is dispersed between them. Interesting. And the wolf that you feed is the wolf that you become. The person you feed is the person you become. And so you can have all these different desires, all these different things that you are not currently, that you want. Community, family, love, resources, material wealth, spiritual enlightenment. You can want all of these things around you. Desiring all of them. And in the desiring of all of these things, you are in all of these different places at once. And so what's the point? To get to the next place. And once you get there, let me tell you something. It wasn't the feeling. You're not going to get the feeling. Because all of the feelings are already here. And so, when you have a desire and you think, well, I want this blue pen, and the blue pen is over there, way over there, across the street, sure, whatever. It costs $500. It's a blue pen. Maybe it's a $5 million pen, whatever. So right now, we don't have the pen. Well, now you create the desire. I want that pen. And that creates a feeling of this is what it would feel like to have the pen right there. Bam. That feeling is what you want. And when you really do get the pen, what's going to happen is that feeling of wanting the pen is going to go away. Because you have it. And so, in order to cultivate the feeling again, you have to want something else. And then when you go get it, you want that feeling again because it feels so good to want, to desire. It's actually incredibly good, the feeling of desiring something that you know you can have. It's one of the best feelings. And do you want to feel good or do you want to be free? Well, and be honest. Because until you fulfill the feeling of being good for as long as you want to fulfill that feeling, being free will be elusive. And to run towards freedom, to try to become a saint before you've fulfilled your desires, is not recommended by the saints at all. There are so many things to do, so many things to be, so many things to have. And until you have them, truly, the experience of having them, being them, doing them, your consciousness won't know that it's really not that you wanted the whole time. And I can tell you this, and we can know this intellectually, but still, tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to have a desire. And that desire, you could push it down, you could put it away, you could try to walk around it, you could try to ignore it or avoid it. Try to give it up. But if you try to give it up because you don't want desires, then that's a desire in itself. And so you've caught yourself. Now you're chasing your own tail again. So how do we reach a point of desirelessness? How do we reach that point of freedom? Well, there's two moments. There's two moments. The first moment may happen after you listen to this talk right now. And it's the desire to have desirelessness. Because oh, how peaceful that would be to not really want anything. To just be. There's that first point of desirelessness where you do desire to not have any desires, but then the desires keep on creeping back in. They'll come in and come in and come in and come in. It's your karma. And what is karma? Karma is desire. If you desire to be great, that's your karma to be great. If you desire to be a king, it's your queen. It's your karma to do that. And until you fulfill that karma, well, you have to now there are a couple different ways here. You could do karma yoga, which is selfless service. You can do bhakti yoga. You can do meditation and feel the desires within your body and close your eyes for 10 years, 20 years and until your body, and usually it takes about 10 to 20 years, until your body naturally subsides and surrenders into desirelessness. Or you can go fulfill them. You can go after them. You can go do the things that you desire. And here's the kicker. The way that you were designed You were designed to have whatever you want, so long as you believe that you can have it. And that's the thing about faith. Faith, the ultimate cultivation, the ultimate answer is faith. Faith in this, faith in that, faith in yourself, faith in spirit, faith in your desires that they will come to you. Be not anxious for the morrow. See, how can we not be anxious if we have desires? How can you not think about what tomorrow will bring and what tomorrow will be like if you have a desire for tomorrow? And how do you give it up? How do you give up that desire? Well, you don't need to give it up. You don't need to be anxious about it. Here's how. If you have faith, if you trust that what you desire is possible, that it will come no matter what, it relieves all anxiety and takes you back into the present moment, because now you know that whatever you ask for, it's already done. Once you send it out, you can release it. You don't have to think about it, because whatever that desire is, it's going to come in, and you know it. You know it. Now, here's where anxiety comes in. It is when you have a desire, but then you don't think that you can have it. You don't think that you can truly be whatever that is that you desired to be. And so now you're caught between, well, now and then and how? Asking yourself how you're going to make this happen. How are you going to fulfill this desire? How are you going to bring this in? Well, see, all of those questions cause anxiety. And what faith does is it allows you to surrender. It allows you to give it up. I know it's coming. And what's incredible about faith and knowing that it's coming is that when you do know that it's coming, and when you do have faith in your desires, well, it will come a lot faster. And it might take 4 or 5 lifetimes, 400 or 500 years for you to fulfill all. I mean, you have so many of lifetimes worth of desires stacked up. And so, I mean, if you're living and you've manifested yourself into a world where you're surrounded by things that cause you to want, well, it can be easy to get caught up in other people's desires and other things that create new desire in your body and in your mind and all of these things. And so that's why it's important to sit back and meditate and create space between you and the society that you're currently living in. This is just one time period. Certain things, especially trends, fads, things that are new and only here for a moment, these things are very seductive, because not only are they attractive, but they also attract a huge amount of the collective unconscious. Because a lot of the collective unconscious is drawn to shiny objects over and over and over again because they're asleep. Sleeping means essentially just drifting, following somebody else's plan, being given desires rather than creating them within yourself. This is what being asleep is. And somebody comes up to you and says, hey, why don't you work for me? There's this really cool thing that we're going to go do. Come on. And now, you start working for them. They're like, hey, you really want this pin right here. We're going to give you this pin. And it's really, really good pin. Like all these guys have it over here. I know you want it. And so now you want this pin. and the pin is like a certain level of the business or whatever. But it's like these desires, where do they come from? Are you drawn to them? But then once you want the pin, you'd better get the pin. You'd better do it, because now you want it. So do it, or pour it on, or try to get it, or allow it to come in, because it will. And once you fulfill the desire to get that pin, okay, you realize what the pin really is, and then you can move on easily. And so, I mean, what we're talking about here is truth, spirituality. And what is it? And how do you go on a spiritual journey in the modern world? I mean, yeah, you can connect to ancestors, and you can connect to the divine, and you can ask it questions and talk to aliens and psychically read people and all of this stuff. But all of this is really just the siddhis. In yoga, it's called siddhis. It's called powers. And, the ancient gurus, they talk about getting caught in the siddhis. Why get caught in them? They're very seductive. They create desires. They create things that you want to do. You want to use these powers for something. You want to use them to change the world. But remember, if you try to change the world, you'll just ruin it. It's already perfect. It's a line from the Tao Te Ching, and it's a truth that stands the test of time. Governing a country is like frying a small fish. If you poke at it too much, you'll ruin it. Another line from the Tao Te Ching, the way of the way. And so what is it that we're even trying to achieve? Spirituality. What are we trying to open ourselves up to? Is it healing the world? It cannot be done. The world is already perfect. You trying to change the world? It can't be done. You can only change you. And by you changing you, and only focusing on that might change somebody else. That might wake them up if you're awake. But here's the weird thing about it. If you go up to somebody and you attempt to wake them up because you're awake, well, they ain't gonna wake up. That's not how it works. You can't change them. They can only change themselves. And maybe they'll look at you and do that. But it's not up to you. And see, that relieves a lot of anxiety in itself. There's no reason to heal anybody. Nobody needs you, and you don't need anyone. It's just how it is. Now, walking in the way. And see, this is why those great sages were empty vessels. Because only by being an empty vessel and not knowing and not having desires to heal can you truly heal. Can you truly be... can you truly make a blind man see? Or perform a miracle? Turn milk into ghee. Just like that. Or water even. Or produce 80 oranges out of only one. Or a bag of 8. Like Maharaji. But see, these are still powers. These are still powers. And Maharaji, a great saint, he tried to hide his powers as much as he possibly could. He didn't teach powers. He didn't teach siddhis. He taught love. He said, just love people. Just let them be. He didn't attempt to stop people from smoking cigarettes or smoking or doing anything. Tea and cigarettes and a lot of cigarettes. Dada smoked cigarettes, one of his closer companions, and he would always say, Dada had his God today, tea and cigarettes. And then when Charas, Yogins come, the ones who smoke hashish. He would send them to the back of the temple to smoke some before they come back into the darshan. When darshan is just simply him looking at you, observing you. How did he heal people? How did he open them up? Was he trying to open them up, or was he just loving them? Was he seeing them as somebody who needed opening? Was he seeing them as somebody who needed healing? Because if he saw them as somebody who needed healing, he would be seeing them for less than who they truly are. Or did he see them for who they truly were? Did he see them for the truth behind the veil of distortion that they had themselves in? Did he see them for the healed, conscious, awake being that they were, and then love them? But not only did he see that, he also saw everything. All of the ups, all of the downs, he knew it all. And yet he would look at them. And there's countless stories of him looking at you in the eyes. And you could just tell that he knows all of the bad things that you did in a room by yourself or when you were alone. He knows all of those bad things and all of the good things and all of the times that you prayed and all of the times that you moped in your bed by yourself. He knew all of them. And he loved you anyways. And what is that love? Maybe, if anything, a spiritual journey is about achieving some semblance of that love, that ability to love through all of it, through everything, through the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups, the downs. There's a story told by a man who was traveling, visiting a different country, and he's sitting in the bus, and there's a old man on the bus in the front, and he walks past him. He sits down, and there's like he's sitting with there's a lot of women on the bus, and this big, burly, drunken man stumbles onto the bus, and he's shouting at the bus driver. And he's yelling at the people on the bus, and he's telling them to move over. And he smacks a guy. Right? Pretty sure he smacks the old man. And this guy telling the story gets up and wants to combat this evil man, this burly, drunken, evil man. But, he slowly sits down as he sees the old man, who goes up to the big burly man. He says, "What's going on?" And the big burly just starts shouting at him. Blah, blah. And the old man says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And the big burly man he's yelling. And all of a sudden, the old man just puts his hand on his shoulder and says, He's like, "What's going on? Come here." And the big burly drunken guy goes over comes into the little old man's arms. And the little old man starts stroking his hair. And he says, "Just let it out. Let it out." And the big burly man just starts sobbing, crying, and then you just see this old man. Shh, 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 it's okay. To this big burly angry guy. How did he do that? How did he do that? Isn't that what we're trying to achieve? Spirituality in spiritual sense. He didn't see the angry, burly drunkard as anything but a human being. And he just did what he thought to do in that moment. He just Instead of seeing the distortion of the reality that was in front of him, the illusion, the old man saw the truth, the love. That's all there is. There is nothing else. There's nothing else at all, ever. And if you perceive anything other than that, it is an illusion. And now, getting caught up in that illusion is what causes so much suffering. And it doesn't matter what kind of suffering it causes in the world. The world is perfect. Again, the world is perfect. If you try to change it, you only ruin it. But what you can change is how you perceive suffering within yourself. And that's all that there is. To be truly spiritual is to not see anyone else. There is nobody else. It's all you. It's all you. The numbers, the patterns, the people, the stuff. You're inside of your own brain. You're inside of your own consciousness. I mean, there's you, and then there's your environment. There's you and other. And those are one and the same. They've never been separate. It's like saying, you don't beat your own heartbeat. You don't control the internal organs or the blood flow or your macrophages in your blood. You don't control the internal things in your body. Well, you also don't control the external things. But they are you. Just like your blood is you. Just like the heart is you. It's a member of your body. It's a part of you. And you don't have control of it. So, just because you don't have control of something does not mean it's not you. You don't have control of your heartbeat. I mean, some of us do with breath work, but you know what I mean? The blood flow, the macrophages, the mitochondria of your cells. You don't have conscious control of these things, and you don't have conscious control of the people around you or the stuff in your environment or the animals or the nature or any of it. But it's all you. See the world as yourself. That's what the Tao Te Ching says. See the world as yourself. How do we do that? Well, you start just taking... And we can get into the practical, pragmatic of it, which is taking responsibility for everything that happens around you. That's practical, that's pragmatic. But isn't the most spiritual expression physical? The highest form of spirituality is physicality. Because essentially, you could be in Keter or you can be in Malkuth. And to be in Malkuth is to be manifested. It's already here. See it, smell it, taste it, touch it. Because all things spiritual are made manifest. And so this is the finality right here. The physical. All of that spiritual stuff put into an expressed form. That's the finality. That's the physicality. And so the highest form of spirituality is always physicality. It's always how it's expressed. Which is interesting. Until you make the inside like the outside. That's what Jesus said, the master teacher. Unless ye be like children. And what are children? Children are curious. Children are trusting. They trust. They let life touch them, even if it hurts. What does it mean to be spiritual? What does it mean to be on the path? Well, it means a lot of things, and it also doesn't mean anything. And so, What do you do? What do you do? Well, you live, and you live how you want to live. And you be. And what does being mean? You know, if you haven't been for so long, then how do you be? All of a sudden, you know, you haven't let yourself just be for so long. You let yourself be now, and you're just standing in one place looking at the wall. Okay? What do I do now? Well, once you align to the Tao, trust your natural responses. That's it. Maybe it might be surrender. Maybe it might be achievement. You know, whatever you have in front of you, your desire, that's what you do. Be here now. Be here now. That's the key to everything. The present moment. Because if you can be here now, everything is already done. Everything is already done. And what's there to do? What's there to do? Now what? And isn't that what life is? Now what? Now what? Buddha got enlightened. Now what? Now what's he going to do? Go teach. Okay, now he's taught. Now what is he going to do? Okay, go walk. Okay, now what is he going to do? Enlightenment didn't mean he stopped doing things. It didn't mean he sat in one place. Maharaji, you know, he builds a temple. Now what is he going to do? Okay, he goes over there. Okay, now what? Okay, he goes to this house. Okay, now what? He stays there for 9 days and then he goes to another house. Now what? And that's all it is, constant. Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? What do you want right now? Not what do you want 5 minutes ago. Not what do you want in 5 minutes from now. What do you want right now? What is the strongest pull in your heart right now? Not in 10 years, not in 5 years, not tomorrow I'm going to do this. I will. What do you want to do right now? Follow that. And how do you know what you want to do? I mean, if it's so complicated, how do you know? If you feel it. What is the feeling? The feeling is good. It feels good. You're here. What's the best possible thing that you could do? By best possible thing, what thing do you think is going to produce the best feeling? Do that. And so you can get out of that thought and just into it, and then knowing what is feeling good. This feels good. This feels good. This feels great. Oh, I can add this to this and feel even better. Ooh, I can include music. Oh my goodness, now I feel so much better. Oh, I can include friends and community. Now we have better. Good. Really, really good, really, really good. And it just keeps on building and building and building and building and building. But it's already perfect. Right here, right now. And if you get too far ahead of yourself, well, now there's a energy. It's just going back and forth. So just be here now and give it all you got. Give it all you got, because if you're not giving any of yourself to the future or the past, you got so much to give. There's no possibility of you failing ever at anything if you have all of your energy. And how powerful we are as human beings. One of us, just one, is more powerful than 100,000 that aren't. Just one who is present, just one who is aligned is more powerful than. And see, here's the thing. On the journey, do you want to be more powerful than everyone else? Maybe. And maybe that's a desire that you have to fulfill in order to give it up. But once you have it, you realize, well, what's the point? And I feel like there may be, and there definitely is not a point. There is definitely no meaning to any of this. And so, you can say it's the meaning that you give it. But that's the gift. There's no meaning to anything that you do. So you can do whatever you want to do, so long as it makes your heart sing. And here's the thing: if your heart is in 10 different places at once, it's like you got to orchestrate a symphony. And like, we weren't designed to. I mean, maybe we were, but we're more in alignment when we're playing our instrument. We're not playing other people's instrument or other versions of ourselves' instrument, or the past version or the future version. We're playing our instrument. And that is alignment. That is tuning in. Tuned. You're playing it tuned up. It's like if you got your energy in all these different places, it's like you're playing it out of tune. And so how can you produce good music if you're playing it out of tune? But why do you even want to produce good music? And you can get into that over and over and over again. The key is to just fulfill it. Fulfill your karma. Fulfill your desire. And maybe you're not going to be able to leave your personality completely at the door in this lifetime. And that's okay. You don't have to be a guru. There are gurus for that. Maharaji already is. And maybe that's the path of the guru and the shaman, to do everything, to do it all, so that we, or you or us, can feel comfortable fulfilling our desires. And so the gurus are like the parents of the world. And they're just loving you. And see, here's the thing. You're not going to ever lose that love no matter what you do. So fulfill everything. Do all of it. Everything. Until you're done. Don't cut yourself short. Don't end things prematurely. Finish what you started. And what I mean by finish is fulfill what you want to fulfill. Okay? Do what you want to do. Today is a gift. So make it that way. Yeah. Going into discipline, okay? Because I wanted to talk about discipline as well, which is essentially why even have discipline? Why do the rituals? Ritual is the husk of faith. This is what the Tao Te Ching says. Now, why is ritual the husk of faith? Now, husk is like a cornucopia, right? What's the cornucopia? The husk of faith. What holds the faith is the ritual. And so at the beginning, we talked about building faith, because in order to achieve desire, we must have faith, because if we don't, we get in our own way over and over and over again. So we must have this faith. Well, what is ritual? Ritual is the husk of faith. And so can we truly be free if we cannot get ourselves to do the things that we tell ourselves to do? Can't do what you tell yourself to do, then how can you ever be free? If you can only do what you've been programmed to do, or what fulfills your instant gratification or fulfills your dopamine centers, if you can only do those things and you can't tell yourself to do anything else to fulfill desires in a different way, then are you truly free? If you can't tell yourself to stop, if you can't tell yourself that you need time, then are you truly free? Now, that it goes that way, and it also goes the other way. If you cannot tell yourself to do work, to perform rituals, to go after it, are you truly free? All right. So that's have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.